नाम तिहारो जो जपाए सिंध पाव पार गगन तमामा बाजियो भयो निशान का खेत जो मांगो सूरमा अब जूझन को दाओ सूरा सो पैतालिए जो लड़े दीन खेत पुरजा कट मरे कबू ना जाने खेत
ਸਾਰੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਨੂੰ ਗੱਜ ਵੱਜ ਕੇ ਫਤਿਹ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਤੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਤੇ today's space and this gathering that is there, I've kind of arranged because we are very lucky today to have Dr. Harinder Singh with us. And Dr. Harinder Singh is the elder brother of one of the victims of an infamous massacre of four Sikh youth on 4th of February 1986 in Punjab. And Harinder Paji, Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa te Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh ji.
Before I start my discussion, I'll kind of, try to lay out, Harinder Paji, like many of our audiences are not fully aware about, what the problem in Punjab is. And within that context, what is actually the massacre that happened in Nakodar. So I'll quickly walk them through, the background of Punjab's problem and why we are here talking about this very serious issue. So I'll quickly present my screen so people can, people can see it. Just one sec. Yeah. So people who are not aware about the subcontinent, we know the Indian subcontinent is just to give you some background, is not one country. Like we take that name India, but India is basically the name of a continent with multiple different, nations enclosed in it. And this, what you see, the map that you see currently on my screen, is basically the map of the continent, political map of the continent when British left in 1947. When British left, this was roughly the political map of the continent with different nations, all the nations which are subjugated by the British through colonial power. And you see up in the north is the state of Punjab. And we're going to talk about, the issues which are plaguing Punjab today, especially the massacre in Nakodar. But this is what the United Punjab used to look like in 1947 when British left. But when British left, the leaders, especially the Hindu leaders, represented by the Indian National Congress and the Muslim leaders, who were the other second minority in the continent, divided this whole subcontinent in two, which is India and Pakistan, and they never decolonized the continent. And today, the way the political map of the continent looks like is something like this. This is quote unquote the state of India with all the different nations within it. And if you see on the northwest, there is this small state. The Punjab was further divided. Half of it went to Pakistan, half of it remained in India, which was further divided into three states: Himachal, Haryana, and Punjab. And this small state that you see in the northwest is today a Sikh majority state, which since the British left from 1947 has been in a perennial struggle with the central rulers who rule out of Delhi with an iron hand over this entire diverse, subcontinent. And the struggle, primarily from 47 till 1984, was for a federal structure, for autonomy within the Constitution of India. But in 1984, there was the Indian state basically decided they have had enough of these peaceful protest by this 1.5% minority. So they sent an entire army to attack the holiest place of the Sikhs, which is Darbar Sahib in Amritsar, which is called the capital of the Sikhs. And they murdered around 5,000 people across 3 days. Thereafter, there was a big genocide of Sikhs, around 35,000 Sikhs across 119 different cities in India. Then multiple other, thereafter, there is a full repression by the Indian state, which was launched in the nation of Punjab for almost 2 decades, where the constitution, so-called constitution, was suspended. Almost a jungle rule was put in place where the police could pick up, kill, murder anyone who they felt undesirable, and the courts would, stop listening to any pleas, any request for habeas corpus, etc., etc., which we normally expect, in a civilized democratic country. So within that space of 2 decades, numerous massacres and genocides took place of the Sikh minority. And one of the most infamous cases is that of Saka Nakodar. Saka, is a Punjabi word. There is no direct translation I could think of. The best translation I could say is the massacre at Nakodar, where four Sikh youth were murdered in cold blood on 4th of February 1986 by the Indian police. And we today are fortunate to have among us Sardar Dr. Harinder Singh. He is the elder brother of one of the victims of that massacre. It is important, as I said, it's not just one massacre or one genocide that the Sikhs have to undergo, but this is one of the prominent examples, because where we had a family which actually never let the memory of that massacre go away, and they have been fighting for almost, I have to say, 4 decades for justice. I think within their hearts they know that justice will never be delivered by the Indian state, but at least we will have justice in the court of public opinion, where people will understand what happened and learn from it, and maybe humanity across the globe will learn from it and kind of understand the true nature of Indian state. So with that, I will gradually turn it over to Sardar Harinder Singh ji. I also have, before we go to him, we also have Sardar Mandeep Singh ji from Jakarta, who has joined us. Mandeep Singh ji, Waheguru ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru ji ki Fateh. Thanks for joining us. And with that, I'm going to probably start over and hand it over to Harinder Paji. Harinder Paji, please tell us about, your brother, Pai Saab, Pai Ravinder Singh Ji, who he was, about your family, how come, he got involved in this terrible situation where, the state kind of targeted him for murder, and what exactly happened. Please talk us through it. Many people know about it, but it's not a very well-known incident, unfortunately. So I'll hand it over to you to talk us about it.
Waheguru ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru ji ki Fateh. Veer Harjeet Singh ji, thank you for hosting this crucial Twitter space where we strive to unveil the atrocities of the 1986 Saka Nakodar and dissect the 38 years of relentless pursuit of justice. Truth must transcend boundaries, reaching Sikhs, non-Sikh communities, and journalists worldwide. The world needs to bear witness to the profound struggle of one man who devoted his life to unraveling the truth and seeking justice for the Nakodar sacrilege. So, talking about my brother, he was barely 19 years of age when 38 years ago he was killed on the 4th February 1986, along with Pai Baltir Singh Ji Ramgarh, Pai Chalman Singh Ji Gorsian, and Harinder Singh Chalupur. They set out from their homes to protest the desecration of Guru Granth Sahib in the town of Nakodar on the outskirts of Jalandhar. Little did they know that they would not come back home. So my brother, Ravinder Singh, he was born to my mata Baldeep Kaur ji at our Nanke Pent, Mahima. Uh, my grandfather was late Gurnam Singh Sandhu, and my grandmother Charan Kaur, she was the twin sister of the widely respected Jathedar, Gyani Harcharan Singh Ji Mahalon, Takht Sri Kesgar Sahib. So Veer Ravinder, like from the very beginning, he was like seeped in the love of Sikhism, like all Sikh kids, around 1984 in April, he got Khande Dipal at Takht Sri Kesgar Sahib. Um, he used to be, he was a pre-engineering student back then. He was involved with the Sikh Student Federation. He used to attend all the Gurmat events, even if they were by the Youth Akali Dal or by the Sikh Student Federation. And being a, Amritdhari Sikh, he firsthand, saw like what happened after 1984, whether it was attack on our Gurukars, the Battle of Amritsar, or afterwards, like it was Sikh genocide, as you said, across the country in several states. He used to, like during his idle time, he will do Satnam Vaheguru Jap, like in his notebook. That was his daily routine. He will be part of the evening divans at our Gurdwara every single day. Uh, he will stand out because his Siri Saab that he used to wear was like little bigger than the Janal. So Sikhs that would wear at that time. So and it was like Sarvat Khalsa of 26th January, the event that he attended last before his Shahadat. Uh, and after 10 days, like, when Guru Granth Sahib's troops were set on fire in Nakodar on February 2nd, 1986, 5 troops of Guru Granth Sahib were set on fire, if you don't know, at Gurdwara Guru Arjan Sahib, Mahalla Guru Nanakpura. And when he heard about it, and then he participated in the peaceful protest a day before too, on the 3rd February. And on the 4th February, while they were going to Gurdwara Sahib to collect the desecrated Swaroops, the police opened live fire on them, where like all 4 of them, like, February 4th, 1986, in the city of Nakodar in Punjab, we witnessed the cold blood murder of unarmed, peaceful protesters who were ruthlessly hunted down and shot in the chest without any warning or judicial permission in an unjustified police firing. The subsequent cover up involved like falsifying autopsies in the dark of the night and disposing of the bodies to conceal the tracks of injustice. This pattern persisted through repeated obstructions, complete abuse of due process, denial, delay, and a failure to act on reports and commission of inquiry findings. Despite efforts to raise the issue with the various authorities, including the DGP Punjab, Principal and Chief Secretaries, Cabinet Ministers, RTI Commissioner, Home Department, Intelligence Bureau Chief, State Assembly, both Houses of Parliament, Governor of Punjab, and even President of India, justice has remained elusive. In 2019, we had a hope when, after 33 years, we received part 1 of the judicial inquiry of the commission, Justice Gurnam Singh Commission, that was conducted after these police killings and cremations, who conducted an inquiry, submitted his report to the state government on 31st October 1986. The rule of law states that that report, once submitted to the state, it need to be placed in the state assembly, had a discussion on it, and then a action taken report need to be submitted within 6 months of the submission. But we did not get that report for 33 years. After 33 years, we received part 1 of the report, And then we went to the High Court, where a notice was issued, a High Court order was issued to make a special investigation team to register cases against these police officials who did this atrocity. Then,
But yeah, I'm going to just interrupt a bit. This is sorry to kind of stop your flow. I know this is like a long, history of, like, where there's so many events which happened after that event, where you tried to get justice, but it was denied. But even on the day, like that incident, if you can talk, a bit about, what exactly happened there. Why do you consider it a cold-blooded murder? What exactly happened? How did the police hunt these guys down? And was that incident itself, it seems from what I know, was a planned event, potentially with the active involvement of some of the agencies. If you can talk about that incident and how that happened, and then I will pull the conversation up. I know for decades you've been trying to get all these inquiries and reports.
Thank you, Paji. So the three dates are important to understand: February 2nd, February 3rd, February 4th, and even February 5th. So on the 2nd of February, 5 swoops of Guru Granth Sahib were set on fire at a local Gurdwara. The local authorities were intimated. A FIR, those of you who don't know FIR, it's the first initial report. It was registered at the local police station, Nakodar, by the subdivisional magistrate as well as the DSP. Afterwards, the district authorities were intimated, and the SSP at that time was Ajhar Alam, and the acting deputy commissioner was ADC Darwara Singh Guru. They came to Nakodar and they tried to blame it as a negligency on the part of Gurdwara Sahib Granthi instead of making the investigation. So the swoops, those were set on fire. They were at two places. They were where the Maharaj Prakash was and where Maharaj Sukhasan was. There was during the investigation, it was found there was no electric failure, there was no short circuit, there was no tube, there was no agarbatti, it was daytime, there was no need of candle. So all those reasons were ruled out. Still, the SSP blamed it on the Granthi. So, and at that time, mind this, it was our so-called Panthic government in power. It was a Akali Dal government. Sarjeet Singh Barnala, he was the chief minister of Punjab. So when police did this, in the evening, there was a peaceful protest march on the evening of 2nd February 1986. Local MLA Kuldeep Singh Wadala, who happened to be SGPC member as well, Shromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee member, he was also intimated, who promised he will talk to the police, he will come next day, and we will iron it out. So next day comes, it is February 3rd, Badala Sahib, he comes. In the surrounding villages, it was announced that Maharaj swoops have been set on fire. So everyone from the surrounding villages also came to Nakodar. The courts were closed, educational institutes were closed, the shops were closed. Everyone participated in this peaceful march, which started from Gurdwara Sahib and went all the way to the police station. Over there at the police station, the SSP was requested by the leaders that you should investigate this further. You should round up the suspect, make an inquiry, because there is so much tension. Situation is very tense. So let's Badala Sahib tried to cool it down, okay, but the SSP did not listen. He says, I know how to deal with them. It is done and dusted. The Granthi is
Who was the SSP, Paji?
Muhammad Ajhar Alam, the
Oh,
person who
okay.
made Alam Sena later on.
Yeah, so just for the context of some of the listeners, Muhammad Idhar Alam is widely known, is quoted in multiple United Nations human rights reports as a person who ran death squads in Punjab. So he created something called Alam Sena, where he would hire, youth, dress them up as Sikh militants, and basically task them to go ahead and create ruckus and do terrorist acts, kill innocents, to kind of blame, the Sikh Jathebandis or the Sikh youth who were basically struggling against the state. And so he's infamous for that. And people who are interested in it, you can go to insaf.org and type Azhar Alam's name, and all the extrajudicial murders that he's committed are documented there with names. Sorry, Paji, yeah, I know Mandeep Paji has just shared the link. Um, but sorry, so Paji, on that day, basically he's saying we know how to deal with you guys. Basically, his attitude was that we're gonna do what we want to do. We are not gonna listen to you.
So he threatened everyone. He said, tomorrow I'll bring the BSF, Border Security Forces, CRPF, Central Reserve Police Force, the police from the neighboring districts, and I will fix these youth. So after that, the local MLA, Badala, he told the Sangat that give me another night. Let me go to Chandigarh, the state capital, and talk to the chief minister, Sarjit Singh Barnala, and tell him that Guru Granth Sahib has been desecrated and the police and the authorities are not listening to us and they are not taking any action and the situation is very tense and I promise I'll get some action done. So the
Yeah,
Sangat went
but
through.
I'm gonna just interrupt a bit for the sake of non-Sikh audience. I just want to highlight to them, that they might consider that okay, a book has been desecrated, why it is such a big deal. But I think people don't understand what is the status of Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji in the mind of Sikhs. For Sikhs, Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji is a compilation of all the teachings of the 10 gurus we had, and the Sikhs treat it like a living guru. He is the eternal guru, eternal teacher, a living teacher for us. We consider all the 11 gurus as one spirit which has been walking through different life forms and is now enshrined as the eternal guru. So that is why if you go to the gurdwara, especially the non-Sikh people, you will see that we do in the night, we do sukhasan, we put the guru to sleep, and there is an elaborate way that he is put back on to sleep. And in the morning we do prakash, where his guru is again, prakash means bringing light to everyone, when in the morning he is again brought back to the central place where the sangat can come and listen to the teachings from the guru. So for Sikhs, it is not quote unquote a book, it is a living guru. And we even call the pages as angs mean part of the body. So that is why of all the deep things you can do to offend a Sikh, probably the most offensive will be ever a desecration of Shri Guru Granth Sahib. It is as such as you are killing our Guru in front of us. So if you do that, the Sikhs, the reaction you should expect is way different from what you can, what we Sikhs treat our scriptures differently from the way some other religions do. So that is why the government, especially the government in Delhi, has made it one of the tactics whenever they want to instill any trouble or create an event and then persecute the Sikh youth. What they will do is they will send somebody to desecrate the Sikh religious scripture or the guru of the Sikhs. And it is a oft repeated practice, has been done multiple times. And this Saka or massacre is a prime example of it. And as we go through the whole incidents, we will uncover evidence that how the government was actually involved in the desecration itself. Sorry, Harinder Paji, I wanted to give context to people, why we had this whole thousands of people from villages gather and kind of go to march towards the district headquarters to protest. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so it was at the Nakodar police station where it all happened, and in the evening, the set on protest was called off until the next morning. The same evening, the Hindu right wing, Hindu Shiv Sena, their state chief Ramakant Jalota, and their local president, who was Ramesh Chandar, known as Khan, they started like hooliganism, like in Nakodar. So they they were going around with their weapons, openly showing, putting like anti-Sikh slogans, as well as they like tried to ruin some of the businesses of the Sikhs.
And
So
is
and
this was this thing confirmed by the inquiry reports as well later on that
yes,
Shiv Sena was
it
provoking?
is written in Justice Gurnam Singh Commission's report. It is.
Okay, good. Yeah. So I want to highlight, Paji, this is like this I have seen multiple times, like the state using some criminal elements on the Hindu society, giving them arms and using them to provoke, like as if to bully around the Sikhs. We are seeing the same pattern with this whole thing called Lawrence Bishnoi gang, which is today in India. They send criminal elements to Canada and US, and then they basically go and send extortion threats and try to bully around Sikhs in diaspora. You're basically saying even there in Nakodar, the same kind of incident was being played out, wherein the state was backing these criminal elements from the other religious community. Overall, Sikhs and Hindus generally live in peace and harmony, but there was this group of militant Hindus who were being armed and kind of supported to go around and bully around the population. Hanji Harinder Paji, we can't hear your voice. If you can hear
Okay.
us.
So afterwards, when it was the evening of February 3rd, when they were doing all this in the city, a curfew was imposed in the city. And this is the evening of February 3rd. And before that, just to build up on what you said earlier, uh, Justice Ajit Singh Bance, he had an organization, Punjab Human Rights Organization. 5 members of that PHRO, that include the ex-police officials as well as some attorneys, they had also made a committee, and they had also investigated Nakodar killings. In their report, they write, like right after the desecration, a DSP, Deputy Superintendent of Police of Intelligence Bureau, was seen in Nakodar. A local ex-MLA of Congress was seen in the Nakodar, and President of Shiv Sena, Ramakant Jalota, and they all met at someone who was election in charge for the ex-chief minister Darwara Singh of Congress at his place. So they're questioning what they were doing in the city, like what are the intelligence agencies doing, what are the politicians doing, along with the right wing Hindu organization, what they were planning that day.
So it was after the desecration, before the murder, or
Yes, it
okay.
was
So
after the desecration on the 2nd February, before before like the 3rd February evening that I'm telling you.
got it.
So on the 3rd of February, after like Sikh businesses and the places were like tried to be like damaged, and some of those were damaged, they put a curfew in the city. Now there
And
was no.
these were damaged by those Shiv Sena guys, right?
That's right.
The
That's
militant
right. That's right.
like opposite group created by the state. Yep.
That's right. That's right. So afterwards, the curfew was imposed in the city, and the Sangat of the surrounding villages has no idea that the curfew has been imposed in the city, because there was no announcement made in the surrounding villages. So here comes the February 4th morning. That's when the Sangat from all around, as it was planned, like we are going to meet at Gurdwara Sahib next day, they came. So then they were stopped at the outskirts of Nakodar. So the way that goes to Gurdwara Sahib, the Sherpur Bridge, the Sangat sat over there, and they started Satnam Waheguru Jap. So once the Sangat knew that there is a curfew in the city, they requested the police and the authorities to allow Panj Pyaras to go to Gurdwara Sahib, collect the desecrated troops, so that they can take them to transport it to Goindwal Sahib for Jalprava. So that was the plan. But the police refused even to entertain that request. the five Panch Pyaras weren't allowed to go in. So the Sangat started a set on protest right there on the bridge. And that, uh, set on protest continued till afternoon. It was like around 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They're just sitting there. And at that point, the police and the authorities, they brought another group of Sikh Nihangs. Those were coming from the opposite side of the city, like opposite side of where they were sitting. Like they were exactly opposite to each other. If one is on the north, the other one was on the south. So instead of bringing them by the bypass or the ring road, they were brought in through the city that was under curfew. And while they were coming from the city, they had almost clashed with the Shiv Sainiks. Those were like openly, along with their weapons, they were like roaming in the city under the cover of
So,
CRPF.
so there was curfew, but the Shiv Sainiks, which was basically state-backed militants, they were openly kind of, you're saying, at that time to time allowed to kind of roam around in the city.
That's right. That's right. So, and then on top of that, why would the police and authorities bring the Jatha from like within the city that's under curfew? So
Hmm.
I think they were trying to provoke Sangat.
Hmm.
That's what my thinking is. I could be wrong. Justice Ajit Singh Bans questions this, like why this Jatha was allowed to enter in the city while the city is under curfew and join the Jatha that's on the other side while they could easily go via bypass and join that Jatha. So once these Nihang Singhs, when they reach there,
Hmm.
and the Sangat tells them, like, we've been sitting here since this morning. The police doesn't even allow Panch Pyaras to go to the Gurdwara.
Hmm.
They say, because the city is under curfew, they say, what curfew?
Hmm.
The Shiv Sainiks are like, in there along with their weapons, and the curfew is for us.
Hmm.
So at that point, the Sangat start, making another dialogue with the police and the authorities. Like,
Hmm.
you should allow the Sangat to go to Gurdwara Sahib, collect those troops, and we will take those to Goindwal Sahib. Around 4 o'clock, they were allowed to enter the city. The police did allow them. So the five beloved, the Panch Pyaras were up front, and the Sangat was behind them, and they were doing Satnam Vaiguru Jap and walking to the city. While, like, they just took few steps, went like few yards, where they came to a place where it was hard for them to like walk away. The police, without any warning or without like any fires in the air, they opened the live fire on this unarmed, peaceful, unprovoked Sangat. So when they opened the fire, first of all, Pai Ravinder Singh, who was my elder brother, who was 19, he was shot right in the heart,
Go ahead.
and he just fell there. He just fell there, and he attained martyrdom. After that, the Sangat, it start like, going away from the fire to save themselves. Then the police start hunting them down. The
Hmm.
mounted police, like on the horses, they went after them, whether they were in homes, whether they were in the, like, at someone's, farmhouse, like wherever they were. So the other two Singhs, those were martyred by
Hmm.
Baltir Singh and by Chalman Singh.
Hmm.
They were taking shelter behind, like, while they were taking shelter behind the bullocks, the police opened live fire on them. Even two bullocks, like, they were killed right there, where Pai Baltir Singh and Pai Chalman Singh attained martyrdom. After that, Pai Harminder Singh Chaluper, who was a MSc second year student, who was convener of Sikh Student Federation, Lalpur Khalsa College, Jalandhar, he was challenged by name while he was in a sawmill along with the other Sikh Student Federation workers to come out. And when he came out, the police inspector put his service revolver in his mouth, and he was shot at point blank. At
Go
point
ahead.
blank. And then he fell down over there. It didn't end there. It didn't end there. The police picked up all four and took them to the civil hospital Nakodar. When the doctors went to do the autopsies in the middle of the night, they found Harminder is still alive. They tried to give him medical aid. The police snatched him, and they say, like, we will take him to a different hospital where there is blood available. And on their way to that hospital, they made sure he is no more. And when I read his autopsy report, they write brought dead at civil hospital Jalandhar.
Pari, so just to hold on, Sardar Bhai Harminder Singh was actually challenged to come out. So basically, they challenged him, and when he came out, rather than arresting him, they basically shot him like, like prompt blank. And he didn't have any weapon. Did he? Was he owning any firearm? Nothing. Just shot in cold blood. Even after
Yeah,
the challenge him
they
and they
were all unarmed. They were all unarmed. They had no weapons whatsoever. And when, like, when they challenge him, the other sangat from Ara, from the sawmill, they won't let him come out. They say, if you go out, they're gonna kill you, just like they killed the others. But then the police warned, like, if you don't come out, we will set this sawmill on fire. And as you know, in the sawmill, there is a lot of wood.
yeah.
And if they set it on fire, the people, like those own the house, their kids were in there, their family was in there, and there were other Sangat members in there. So just to protect them, he came out. And Justice Ajit Singh Bans's report, he writes in a mischief at Nakodar, the fascist offensive in Punjab. He says it was a cold blood murder by a trigger happy police inspector who was supposed to protect them, who is responsible to protect them. And he shot. And the report even writes, like, when Pai Harminder Singh got injured, an other Federation worker, Amarjit Singh Tillon, tried to give him water. And they say, we're going to kill you too if you give the water.
So in a way, like, why did they target? Like, you think that they basically knew that Pai Harminder Singh is, I think he headed the Sikh Student Federation. So he was basically targeted because you bring him out and you shoot that guy and then stop other people from giving him water. So police probably already knew his identity.
Yeah. So if you read Justice Garnam Singh Commission's inquiry report, he says they were aimed to kill. They were all shot in their vital organs with the sole purpose of killing them. So that was their sole purpose, to kill them. And the reason Pai Harminder Singh was taken out, because he was a leader of Khalsa College Jalandhar. There was a traffic jam, and probably you have heard about Swarn Kotna, who was DSP back then.
Yeah.
He has taken off a Singh's the star, the turban, during that protest. And Pai Harminder Singh took Swarn Kotna inside the college and had him apologize from the Singh whose turban DSP Kotna has taken. So that was the reason they wanted to kill Pai Harminder Singh.
So they had that grudge, that because this young boy, had enough spine that he made a DSP ask for forgiveness. So it was basically just getting even with him. That gives a good motive. Like why would they target such young boys? Do you know, Paji, what was roughly the age of Pai Harminder Singh at that time?
Yes, Pai Harminder Singh was 26-year-old. He was the only brother of 4 sisters. Pai Chalman Singh was 24. Pai Baltir Singh was 22. And my elder brother was 19. So if the people, those are seeing this screen, Paji, could you go back to the previous screen? So people, those see the previous screen where it is about Pai Harminder Singh's shahadat. So so you will see over there, like one more, Paji, one more.
This one?
Yes. So if you look over there, the top one is from 1986, the newspaper. The bottom one is 1978. So, and on the same where it says Harminder nu Fadke Marya, something like that, on next to there is Pai Fauja Singh. So I'm comparing in that slide, like both 78 Saka of Khuni Basakhi, where the six were killed by Nirankaris. 13 Singhs were martyred in that case in 1978. And
Yeah.
here comes 1986. Four Singhs are killed. If you look next to Harinder, there is Fauja Singh. The
Yeah.
Fauja Singh was the Jathedar of the group that was going on the 13th April 1978. And he was also still injured, and he wasn't given the medical aid while they were taking him to the hospital, and he was killed in the police custody as well. If you go to 2015, Brigadi Saka, same story.
Yeah.
They tried to pin down on the six. Like, if you remember, two brothers, like they tried to pin down on them like they're responsible for the sacrilege. And just yesterday, yes, yesterday, the person from the Dera, Sirsa, was arrested, who was a fugitive for like since 2015, whose pictures went viral in the last few days with the BJP leaders. And he got arrested by Punjab police yesterday, and three are still, you know, uh, away from the law. And even in 1978, no
Yeah,
one
Paji,
was.
I'll give audience, many of the audience are aware, but many are not aware, that what Paji is here referring is in 1978, there was another massacre of 18/6, in the capital of Sikhs, in Amritsar, the most holy city that the Sikhs have. 18 innocent Sikhs, murdered the same way, targeted um, by the state to provoke, disturbances. And in that also, one the person. So that is one. There's another one in Bargadi, which happened a couple of years back. Again, the same. Uh, Guru Granth Sahib Ji was desecrated by some criminal elements sponsored by the state, and the Sikhs go protesting. The police basically fires on them and kills them. It is a very, very sinister way of sending a message to the community that you are our slaves. What you first do is you hire criminal elements to go and do the most offensive act against that community. And then you basically, when they come and peacefully protest, and every inquiry after inquiry of neutral inquiry by United Nations has told all these protests were peaceful. You basically then crush them brutally by killing the main leaders of that protest, whether they are young boys or old men, you don't care. And then you basically don't punish a single guy for doing that brutal murder. So it's a kind of it has been played again and again with us. It is played like, an ugly, sinister movie by the Indian state. And this is one of those, cases that we're talking about today, the massacre at Nakodar. So just to give the audiences a background, what 1978 incident was, what Bargadi, Paji, kede saal ਚ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ, the Bargadi incident, the massacre?
2015.
Yeah, that's the recent one, 2015. Yeah. Paji, sorry I interrupted you. So you were saying, Paji, that all this thing was going on. So when this thing, Paji, happened, now can we pull it forward? Like, sorry, I interrupted you at where they were in the hospital, and the autopsies were supposed to be done, and they basically took them to a new. What happened after that?
So just a quick recap for the audience, those are joining now, or those might have lost the track. On the 2nd February, Sri Guru Granth Sahib is desecrated. A peaceful march is done on the 3rd February, and other peaceful march is done. In the evening, Shiv Senas, they create trouble in the city. Curfew is imposed. On the 4th, the Sikhs are stopped. And when they are peacefully going, the police opens fire, then hunt them down. 4 students are killed. And the night of 4th February, their postmortems are done in the dead of the night. In the dead of the night. And when the doctors went to the postmortem, they see Pai Harinder Singh is still alive. They try to save him, and the police kills him. Afterwards, when the doctors went to do the postmortems, my dad, who was a bank manager, he knew one of the physicians. When he saw my brother, he immediately called our home and told us that your son, your brother, has been killed. The police did the firing today in the city of Nakodar. So my father immediately took the village sarpanch, the chief of the village council, and a lumbardar, and they went to the city. They were stopped at the outskirts of the city, and they were told, you heard a wrong news. No one was killed. No one is injured. You guys just go back. There is nothing like that. And my dad said, I know all about it. I received the call from my friend who is a physician who did the postmortem. So I know my son is killed. All I want is to get his body so that we can cremate him. So they were told to come next day. They were told to come next day. And then my dad tried to approach Singh Saab, Yani Harcharan Singh Ji Maharon, who was Jathedar, who called the chief minister, who promised, like, if my dad goes tomorrow, they will give the dead body. So here comes the morning of 5th February. My father is stopped again at the city outskirts. At that point, the village sarpanch, the chief of the council, he calls one of the police officer he knew, whose name was DSP Gopal Singh Kuman, that he was my nephew. He was my nephew. Please let my brother see him one last time. At that point, DSP Kuman sent his jeep in which Pitaji sat, and he went to the Nakodar Civil Hospital where he saw all 4 dead bodies. And then he stood his ground. He says, I'm not leaving without the dead bodies of these things. At that point, the police tricked him. They told him to go to the police station, get the permission, and then they will give the dead bodies. And while he walked to get the permission, the police took away the bodies, put the kerosene fuel in a single pyre without any ceremony whatsoever. They were burned. We just talk about Saka Nankana. That happened in 1920. The Sikhs, at that time, they were burned, along with the Jan tree by then Mahants. And the same thing happened after almost, you know, 70 years, that the Sikhs, they are killed and they are burned, their bodies disposed.
But
So my
I want to touch upon this aspect, because this. So you're saying that the police even refused to give them the bodies of the bodies of those youth that they killed in cold blood. They refused to hand them over to the parents so they can go and do their last rites as per their religion and with respect. And they basically did it on their own and without the permission of the parents and their loved ones.
that's right. That's right. Even dead body, they have rights. Even after killing them, they did not even let my dad witness a cremation. Forget about giving the body to the family. My father, he sat on a set and protest alone while the city was under curfew on the 5th February, and he asked for a time bound judicial inquiry. Time bound judicial inquiry.
Pari, I want to hold on that this aspect of cremation, Pari, because this is like this is a this kind of I want to highlight this. The Indian state have made it a point that whenever they murder Sikhs without reason, without any legal authority, they basically try to cremate them, almost their bodies, like for lack of better word, Paji, this is not how you even cremate animals, and they do it deliberately. This happened. We saw it in 1984 when Operation Blue Star happened. There were 5,000, more than 5,000 civilians who were killed there. Their bodies were picked up after days, put into pile after pile on a truck, and given mass cremation in heaps. Now, this Indian state, which has 1.5 billion people and their resources, which has an army of 1.5 million, does not have the wherewithal to do, basically, nobody believed they don't didn't have the wherewithal to do proper cremation for 5,000 dead bodies. They had, but they deliberately didn't do, because they want to send a message that this is how, the amount of hate that some of these agencies and the security forces in India imbibe against the Sikhs. That hate comes out in these moments. And I'm not sure if it's kind of organic in these agencies or they get instructions, but this is shameless act. Like, not even in war, like there are, like, treaties where you kill an enemy soldier, you are supposed to give him enough burial with enough respect. And a couple of days back, and it is a video that comes from Kargil war, where Indian army kills some of the Pakistani soldiers and then they bury them with honors. And that video is touted on Indian national TV. Look, we give so much respect to the bodies of even our enemies, and then we give them respect and we buried them as per Muslim rights. But what do you guys do with your own citizens? You can't even give them decent burial or rites, and you don't even hand over their bodies to their loved ones. And you, these hypocrites, basically then claim some kind of self-righteousness by showing a video which is made up for television. It is hypocrisy beyond my understanding. Like, it is lack of morality beyond my understanding, Paji. I don't know how you I don't know like how others see it, but like, it's kind of hypocrisy which I have not seen in any community, any state in the world. If you want to treat your enemy like a dog and a criminal, you can declare that Sikhs are our enemy. But treating them as, calling them your friends, and them treating them even worse than your enemies is, kind of, it's just, I don't know what to call these people. Anyways, sorry I interrupted you, but I wanted to kind of highlight, that how, the and this is not, Pari, like, this is what I have seen multiple times when the Indian state kills the Sikhs. Like, they can't even figure out that basic humanity. That, okay, now this person they have killed, even if they have killed him wrongly, at least have the basic humanity of, letting their loved ones kind of do the rights. It's just amazing. Anyway, sorry, Pari, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so
What happened
this
after
is
that?
yeah, Harjit Padi, this is not an isolated accident where they did it. So regardless, it was Pai Jaswant Singh Khalra, who was a human rights activist, or Jathedar Gurdev Singh Konke. They will kill them in the police custody and they will dispose of their bodies. And that's also for a legal reason as well. Because when you go to the courts, they want proof of death. They want proof of cremations. And those, uh, to hide their tracks, that's why they refuse to give the
Mm,
body. When my father went to the municipal corporation to
mm,
get the records, because whenever unidentified or unclaimed bodies, they are cremated, there is a record that register is blank for 13 days of February, and they say we have no record of whatsoever, like if anyone was cremated. So so going back, so my father starts a sit-on protest. He sits in front of the police station, asks for a time-bound judicial inquiry by a retired high court justice. Then later on, after the police dispose of the bodies, they let the local MLAs come to join Bapuji and Gyani Harchan Singh Ji Mahalung, who was Jathedar Taksiri Keskar Sahab. They are allowed to enter the city, and then they all join this protest, and they are sitting in front of the police station Nakodar, and from morning till evening, uh, the Punjab chief minister tried to call multiple times to tell them to take off this protest. And they say, we won't go away. We won't eat, we won't drink until the inquiry is ordered. So after that, in the evening, Balwant Singh, who was second finance minister, Balwant Singh 10th, along with the commissioner of the police and someone from the home department, they come and they announce a judicial inquiry. That's when this protest is called off. So a commission is made who conducts an inquiry, submits the report to the state, and that report stays buried even after 38 years. This report that you see on your screens, but you go back one slide, that is the English Tribune, the first page of 24th March 1987, where one more back, but and it says like panel finds Nakodar firing unjustified. So that is the report that was done in March of 1987. It was front page news by an investigational journalist who became an MLA later. His name is Kanwar Sandhu. Kanwar Sandhu. He was MLA Punjab. And when the Saka Brigadi happens in 2015, an other commission is made, Justice Ranjit Singh Commission. to conduct an inquiry into Brigadi. And when his case was brought in the state assembly, the same Kanwar Sandhu and Harvinder Singh Fulka, who's a Supreme Court lawyer, they get up and they ask the government at that time, the chief minister was Amrinder Singh, for Justice Gurnam Singh Commission of Inquiry report. And the government says, like, we will tell you in the next hearing. And the next hearing in February of 2019, the Speaker of the House, Rana KP Singh, he discloses that this report was placed in the State Assembly back in 5th March 2001 without any action taken report. Without any action taken report.
Sorry, just to hold on, this was the report done by Justice Gurnam Singh?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So the public was not informed at all about what was in that report, and you're saying that we came to know later that it was actually tabled in the assembly in 2001 itself, but public was not informed. Is that what it is?
Yeah, not just public, Paji, even the custodians of the law, the MLAs weren't aware.
Wow.
Like, no one was aware. The day the report was placed in the State Assembly on 5th March 2001, it was the last item on agenda that day. It was item number 27. While Prakash Singh Badal was the chief minister and the Speaker of the House was Charanjit Singh Atwal. Now they are both dead.
So they were basically clearing their tail by, in official documents, entering this, that, okay, this report was tabled. But nobody knows.
Exactly. So they just did it for, like, just to done and dusted.
Yeah.
But that was illegal as well. One, it wasn't placed within 6 months. Second, there was no action taken report whatsoever. So when we found out after 33 years, in 2019, in the February, the leader of opposition, Harpal Singh Chima, who was with the Aam Aadmi Party, he was able to get it for us. He's finance minister today. The Speaker of the House today, Sardar Kaltar Singh Sandhma, he came to the 33rd Martin Day of these Shaheeds at our Pend, Litra, village Litra, where we continue to, every year.
Hold on. I am on this slide. I see this report is dated 31st October 1986.
Correct.
So for 33 years, this report was actually immediately submitted, but the government just didn't tell you, the people who lost their loved ones, neither the public, they have this report, and they basically surreptitiously, kind of in a very sinister fashion, to clear their own backlog and kind of not get caught in the bureaucracy, just table it on the last day of the working of the State Assembly on the March of 2001, just to kind of have in the documents kind of claim that, okay, we have shown it to the people, but in reality, none of the people know what is in that probe report.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And
Wow.
if you keep on this screen, you will look, it has two parts. This report, if you look at the center screen, there are two parts, part 1 and part 2. We have gotten only 87 pages of the report, more than 300 pages that has the affidavits, that has the proofs. They are still missing. And if you look on the left side, that's the letter from the State Assembly. In the last paragraph, they clearly write that only part 1 of the report was placed in the State Assembly. They didn't even put the full report in the State Assembly, like the affidavit and everything, like the proofs and exhibit files. They are still missing. And after we received this,
But Pari, what does it mean missing? They're just saying that we don't know.
let me get there.
Yeah.
So when we got this part of the report, my father knocked the door at the High Court. When we went to the High Court asked us for the both parts of the report. When they asked for us the both parts of the report, we went to the State Assembly, we went to the Home Department, we went to the RTI, we went to Chief Secretary, and finally We told the High Court that they are not giving us the report. And finally, in July of 2019, the Attorney General's office disclosed it in the High Court that part two of the report has been either weeded out or destroyed.
No, but again, Pani, even in this, there's a sinister thing of making you go around in circles, right? Like, why would High Court first send you to go and find the report? They just have to, issue an order to the Attorney General, produce this report tomorrow. But they made you go around and find that report, and then later on they asked the Attorney General, okay, you tell us, you understand like how you were being made to kind of run around in circles.
Yeah, that's how they delay it. That's how they delay it. That's the tactic, to delay it, deny it, and then say it is too late. It is too late. It happened too long ago. So when they found, like, this part two of the inquiry report has been missing or weeded out, but you think about it, the Jallianwala Bagh massacre happened in 1919.
We get every single document today, Paji. All
Yes.
the secret reports are available. The police secret reports are available. The top secret reports are available, but not of like so. Attorney General, you said in the court said that he doesn't have the second part of the report. He basically
Yeah.
said we don't have it.
Yeah, so they say that it has been either weeded out or destroyed. So going back to my previous point, Jallianwala Bagh massacre happened in 1919. Hunter Commission was made. Their
Yeah.
reports are available, but this Saka that happened in 1986, its reports are missing. And this report wasn't at one place. It was in the court records. It was in the state assembly records. It was in the police records. It was in the judicial records. So this report mysteriously disappeared from all places, because the police officials, the perpetrators who were responsible for this Saka, Ajhar Alam was made DGP, Director General Police. That's the highest position of the state.
So the person who, in cold blood, we all know, everybody in Punjab knows, like not one, like this is one murder we know, like we know of his thousands of other murders as well. He is promoted to the highest rank in police, and this is not isolated. It seems all the promotions of Punjab police officers were based upon how many innocents they murdered, rather than how capable police officers they were.
Yes. So he was made DGP, and the ADC at that time, Darwara Singh Guru, who was acting deputy commissioner, who gave the permission to do the autopsies in the middle of the night, he was made principal secretary to Prakash Singh Badal. He was made principal secretary to Prakash Singh Badal, when he was chief minister. So
What was
there
the
is
name of
no
that person, sir? Paji, what was the name of the person?
Darwara Singh Guru. Darwara Singh Guru.
And what was he? He was the, at that point in time, what was he in 80s?
He was the acting deputy commissioner. He was district magistrate when this Saka happened. He is
Oh,
the
so he
one.
was the DC under whose supervision and direct control all these murders were done. Because just for the
Exactly.
knowledge of listeners, the district commissioner controls the police. So actually, Azhar Alam was under direct orders of this guy, and both of these guys get rewarded with the highest post. And Paji, it is. I think it is important for Sikhs also to know all this was being done by so-called Panthik Sarkar, Prakash Singh Badal, and today his son is out here trying, shedding crocodile tears that I am sorry. But the reality is that the entire political leadership of Punjab is selected by Delhi, Delhi, and they basically appoint these, what I call, third rate criminals on the highest political posts, which are supposed to be elected posts from people to do their bidding, like this happened. And I just want listeners to be cognizant. What Sardar Harinder Singh is pointing out here is not an exception. Okay, this is the rule that continued in Punjab for last 3 decades. It's not an exception. This is what happened in this particular case in Saka Nakodar. At least, hats off, Paji, to your Baba, to your father Sahab or Bapuji. He had the courage to force this judicial inquiry, which again was obviously we never could have seen the light of the day. But in millions of cases, in thousands of cases, the the family itself has been eliminated. And those people, they've never even had the courage or the gumption to break the fight to the level that Pai Harinder Singh has brought it today. And that is why, Pai Harinder Singh ji thodi bahut sevaya, that, we can at least have some paperwork to show to the world, that this is what is going on. But people need to realize, listeners need to realize, that this is not even the tip of the iceberg we are talking about. We are talking about more than 300,000 youth murdered, and we have some information available about this massacre due to the work of Sardar Harinder Singh ji, and that's why we are talking about it. With that, Pai Harinder Singh ji, please continue about this report, and these
Paji,
two
before
guys
we
get
go,
reported, yeah.
I do want to add. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Paji, go ahead.
Hanji, real quick, Harinder Paji, before you go, I do want to mention in 2012 the killing of Pai Jaspal Singh. He was a teenager as well. Same kind of pattern here with the police firing and reports. But like you were mentioning, I do want to highlight how it takes a whole sort of infrastructure for these kinds of things to happen, right? This is not just the police doing this, right? This is highest levels of government involved here, right? There has been successive governments in Punjab that have not been able to do anything for Pai Harinder Singh's family or the other families that are still awaiting justice for their family members. And Paji Tusi Kyasi, as you mentioned, that this is being done under the sort of Panthik sort of sarkars as well. I do want to mention in 2012, when Jaspal Singh was murdered, his family said, we are not going to do the autopsy until there's an investigation done on this and the perpetrators are brought to justice. And at that moment, Prakash Singh Badal was also the chief minister of Punjab. Actually, that March they actually sent Sant Samaj to the family of Pai Jaspal Singh, and they pressured the family to do an autopsy and get rid of the evidence. So the rot here goes very, very deep. This is not just Punjab, but all the way to the central government, right? Because if it was just a Punjab one government, whether they're Akalis, whether they're Congress, whether they're Aam Aadmi Party, whatever the case may be, you would think, hey, let's bring these people to justice. These opposition parties that created these atrocities, but they actually don't have the power to do anything of that, nor do they have the will. All they know how to be is be under the sort of central control of India, which is coming straight from Delhi. So that's something for Sikhs to think about, is these sort of like political systems that we want to think about in the future. But yeah, go ahead, Harinder Paji.
Oh, thank you. So same thing, just to build on what Mandeep Paji said, on the first anniversary or the first Shahidi Dihada of these things, Jathedars of 5 Takhts came to Nakodar. They promised us that we will deliver the justice. Our Shomani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee, they made their own inquiry. Senior Vice President Kabul Singh and Kuldeep Singh Badala were the members. We don't have that inquiry report till today either. From our own institute, SGPC, Shomani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee.
Waheguru. Paji, like SGPC did, do you know who were the members of that committee and when was it set up, you said?
It was set up the same day when the accident did happen, on the orders of Akal Takht Jathedar Kirpal Singh and SGPC President Gurcharan Singh Thoda. Kabul Singh was the senior Meet Pradhan, senior vice president. And plus it was Kuldeep Singh Badala, who was the Jathedar. They both made this committee, and they were committee members, and its findings are available in the newspapers of that time. And we still haven't received that inquiry report. My father has gone to the Akal Takht as well as SGPC president. We have called them multiple times, but we still haven't. I'll send you a link that you can share with your audience, about the findings of that report that did happen, by the SGPC. It's sad, but it's a sad reality, like what we are dealing with.
So what answer, Paji, did you ask your father, sir? What answer Karl Takht, and who is this SGPC president? I think his name is Tami something, like, forgot his.
Yeah, Harjinder Singh Tami. What Harjinder
Singh
Singh Tami, when my father, and he went multiple times to see him, not once.
You know, the Pari,
Uh,
like first of all, like a Sikh is not supposed to be using his caste behind his name. First, the travesty is from here itself that SGPC president is writing Harjinder Singh Dhami. Kal fir wo Singh hat jana, it will be Harjinder Dhami only, and very soon it will be Harjinder Kumar Dhami. Anyways, sorry to kind of diverge, but what did he actually say, Paji? What is his answer like? This Mr. Harjinder Singh.
Paji, I just sent you a couple things. Just take a look. First of all, the Akal Takht Jathedar, who was the Jathedar before this one, he said, I have written several letters to Shromani Committee to act on it, but they haven't.
So you're talking about
So,
Paisa Harpreet Singh. He basically said
yes,
he has
yes.
written to SGPC, and SGPC is refusing to listen to Akal Takht Jathedar's hukam, basically.
Yeah, so they say we cannot find it anywhere. So it's not just like, the missing from the records of the police and authorities. Like, these people have infiltrated our, like, the biggest institute, and those reports are missing from them as well.
Such an important, infamous incident. And now Mr. Harjinder Singh मिनिस्टर ही कहांगे, सरदार तो नहीं कह सकते जब तक अपने नाम सरदारा की तरह नहीं लिखता. But he's claiming that he also doesn't have that photo. Okay, great. Like this kind of tells you, how things are leaked, and everybody is kind of interested in just making sure that the truth is never out and the guilty are never punished.
So going back to the High Court, when it was like, the High Court issued an order in July 2019, and we had a hope, okay, now the set team will be made, and maybe they will register some cases, and we will find some sort of justice. But nothing happened even after that. And that was back in July. And then we filed a second petition. Pitaji filed a second petition in 2019 about like how the second part of the report is missing. How did it disappear from all the places? So then a second order was put in by the High Court, and that was back in 2022 and then we had more hope, like, okay, now because the government has changed, we have already seen Akali government, we have already seen Congress government, and now it was Aam Aadmi Party. While they were in opposition, they were pursuing for our case. They were the one who were able to get the copy of the Justice Gurnam Singh Commission's report, part 1. So when on 22nd September 2022, the High Court ordered a new order to make a new set, on the 29th September, my father reached the State Assembly while the Assembly was in session. So when Bapu Baldev Singh went over there, the Chief Minister wasn't in the office, but the Speaker was. So he went to the Speaker, and he gave the Speaker the orders of the High Court, both orders. And those orders, a letter was issued by the Intelligence Bureau to SSP Jalandhar to make an inquiry, contact Bapu Baldev Singh, make him part of the inquiry, investigate all this by his special investigation team, and give a detailed report. So we are asking for an independent special investigation team, specifically by a CBI. But these people, they made a set team of SP Jalandhar, Superintendent of Police Jalandhar, DSP Nakodar, and SHO Nakodar. So that set team was made. They placed an order on May 31st, and they were supposed to give the report within 30 days. So that was supposed to be done till June, but no one contacted Bapuji. We don't know what that set team did, but on October 7, the High Court disposed of both our petitions. That a set team has been made, the FIRs have been registered in this case, and that's what our petitions are for. So then there is no need of these petitions. So on October 10th, Both our petitions were disposed of. Then my father applied for an other RTI to get the copies of those FIRs. And you would be shocked to hear the reports that we got on February 2nd. They are the FIRs. Those were registered back in 86, and no one has acted upon. No one has acted upon.
Waheguru. Waheguru. So, so Paji, basically what you are, just to make sure people understand, after 37 years, you basically, some judge in High Court then says, oh, yeah, you should have gotten this probe report, which, where is it missing? Let me form an SIT. And then he forms an SIT of police officials, and then that SIT never contacts you guys. Like, what is your complaint, and let's probe it. And then after forming the SIT, the judge basically then disposes of your petition. Okay, my job is done. I formed the SIT, and the SIT and some FIRs have been registered. And when you check what FIRs are registered, these FIRs, those same FIRs which were registered in 1986, based upon your complaints against these 4 police officers who were then promoted to the highest positions. And no action has ever been done on those FIRs. They are just sitting there, sleeping in the books of police records, while those police officers attain the highest police rank and then retire also, and then leave this earth as well. And then, so what a, like, this is a sad joke being played on justice. I hope people understand, how everybody is kind of not interested in making sure that the truth never comes out for the sakes. So-called justice system of India, judges. Imagine that judge, he would not have disposed of that petition like this. He obviously got instructions from Delhi. From somebody told him that, okay, you have to, this done, we've taken care of it, and now just push this off from your plate. And just amazing, Paji, amazing. And these FIRs were the same old FIRs of 1986, and they're saying our job is done because FIRs were already written, so we have found them. And now what? So what after this? Like, did you ask, like, whom are you going to ask this question? Judge has already taken away the petition. Whom are you going to ask this question, that what action is taken on these FIRs? And like, is somebody going to jail? Is somebody going to be punished? Who is going to listen to it? Like, I'm kind of like, I don't know who's going to listen. Maybe just the people of the world, who are going to listen to this podcast. Maybe we will listen. Please, Paji.
So my father, he was 39 when he started this pursuit of justice. He's 77 today, and his pursuit of justice faced failure on multiple fronts: politicians, police, and the judiciary, the lack of rule of law, and the promotion of those complicit in this atrocity to the top positions underline the magnitude of the challenge. For 38 years, there has been a relentless abuse of process, covering up, denying information, deleting legal documents and reports, and a failure to act on its own judicial inquiry. These 4 Sikh martyrs, Ravinder Singh, Baltir Singh, Chalman Singh, and Harminder Singh, they sacrificed their lives in the honor of Sri Guru Granth Sahib. It is disheartening that our own institution and organization, including SGPC, Takht Jathedars, and Sikh organization, have seemingly forgotten them for their own personal interest. During the 43rd session of the United Nations in February 2020, Dr. Aktadar Chima highlighted the Saka Nakodar atrocity and the subsequent denial of justice. On February 4, 2022, Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren introduced House Resolution 908 in the United States Congress to honor Saka Nakodar Day. This day has gained recognition from assemblymen, senators, county supervisor, and over a dozen cities in the United States. The origin of this issue traces back to March 3, 2018, when DSP Nakodar Mukesh Kumar, in response to an RTI request filed by Bapu Baldev Singh ji, denied the occurrence of any police firing in Nakodar. Denied the occurrence of any police firing in Nakodar on February 4th, 1986.
So who Paji denied it? That he said no firing took place. Who is that guy who denied it?
Yeah. It is part, that part is also available right there, right there. You just the previous one that you just showed. The
Okay, let me.
just go slowly. I'll ask you to stop. When you come to that slide, just try to go back few slides.
No, I see this. Mukesh Kumar, PPS.
Makesh Kumar, he was the DSP who, on March 3rd, 2018, told that there was no police firing whatsoever in Nakodar. That's when we took it to the international platforms to document this case. The public information officer stated that in the municipal committee register for the commissions in Nakodar was blank for the first 13 days of February 1986. Furthermore, of there is no record of the commission of 4/6 student on February 5, 1986. You
Paji,
know,
Paji, I just want to hold on. Like, look at the audacity, right? It's called adding insult to injury, right? So now look at the brazenness. Four Sikh youth are killed. Everybody connives to hide the truth. The murderers are promoted to the highest level. After 38 years, some judge says form an SIT, and then he dismisses of your petition, and then the police officer now there in the Kodar, when you go to him, he basically says this incident never happened, and he says it in writing. And I'm going to read this document so people can hear. I'm going to read it in Punjabi and then in English so people can understand the brazenness with which the Indian state insults our people and our youth. So this is the report of no less than the head of police in Nakodar, the same city that this massacre took place. He's totally denying it. He's saying, I'll read in Punjabi, ਜਿਸ ਦੀ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਮੁੱਖ ਅਫਸਰ ਥਾਣਾ ਸਦਰ ਨਕੋਦਰ ਪਾਸੋਂ ਹਾਸਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਮੁੱਖ ਅਫਸਰ ਥਾਣਾ ਹਜਾ ਦੇ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ ਥਾਣਾ ਦੇ ਏਰੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਤੀ 2 ਫਰਵਰੀ 1986 ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਗੋਲੀ ਕਾਂਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ
4 ਫਰਵਰੀ ਨੂੰ
ਗੋਲੀ
4 ਫਰਵਰੀ
ਲੱਗਣ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੌਤ ਹੋਈ so I'm going to just translate to English. This police officer in writing is saying that he's got the report from the local his police station, and on 2nd February 1986 there was no incident of firing from police and no death which took place and no bodies were ever committed. It's just amazing. Just amazing. Like the hypocrisy.
I do want to highlight, Paji, I do want to highlight here. Imagine if this is being done to a family that has all this evidence of their loved ones being taken away from them.
Yeah.
Imagine the halat of the families that have not done, that kept the fight up for 38 years, the ones who have already passed away, the immense amount of injustice. I mean, I wouldn't even call India's system as a justice system. It's an insult to the word justice, right? I just truly want to highlight like the work Harinder Paji's family is doing.
It's a joke on humanity. It's a sad joke on humanity itself. Like, you kill 4 youth and then you basically do such a thing. You can at least be quiet, but now you are denying the killing itself. So where are these 4 Sikh youth? They just vanished in thin air as per Indian state. Sorry, Harinder Paji, like I know it's very emotional for you as well, but but like I was not aware. This is what you guys were put through. We know all the families have been put through, but like seeing that in front of, when you see these kind of documents and you hear these stories, it's just it's so any Sikh who is living in India and he thinks that Indian state is not treating them as slaves, I think they need to get their brain checked, that you are disconnected from reality. So here is a live and living example of this family, and hats off to them. They are living through this to make sure that all of the others realize, who has still, probably some of you are saved from that heat of the Indian system. This is what system will give you if, God forbid, you ever have to ask for justice. Haji Harinder Paji, please go ahead with what happened.
Now, just imagine a father. Just imagine a father whose 19-year-old son was killed And then his body burned. And that father was told by the then SP detective who burned the bodies, Sarjeet Singh and Inspector Harinder Singh Khang, that we did what we have to, you can do what you want. And then another officer comes and tells there was no police firing. Can they tell why a judicial inquiry was conducted? Why a set team is made? By the state assembly or the houses of the parliaments or the United Nations organization or the US Congress is talking about it? Why? So, I mean, I'm gonna conclude, but thank you for helping us to, you know, this atrocity and the denial of justice for 38 years into the light. Your platform will play a crucial role in raising awareness and demanding accountability. In conclusion, I urge each participant to join our collective effort in bringing justice to the forefront. Share this story, amplify its resonance, and make the world hear the silenced voices of those who sought truth and justice. Let's unite across borders, religions, and communities to demand accountability and shine a spotlight on this enduring justice. Together, we can make a difference and ensure that sacrifice of these four Sikh martyrs are not in vain. In the beginning, by Harjit Singh Ji tried to define Saka. The Punjabi word Saka resonates with the spirit of agitation for a righteous cause. Let's make a movement. Let's take a moment to reflect on why these individuals attained martyrdom. Their relentless struggle for justice. The agitation continues, enduring even as most perpetrators have passed away. The memory of these shaheeds will remain etched in our hearts forever. It is clear, it is very clear that justice won't emerge from Indian authorities, the Punjab government, or the conventional judicial channels. Bapu Baldev Singh Ji's fight has laid bare the systemic issues, revealing a troubling nexus between the police, government, and judiciary. In the face of this justice, can only be realized through the telling of his story, the sacrilege of Sri Guru Granth Sahib, and one man's unwavering dedication to the pursuit of truth and justice. Let's unite to ensure that his narrative reverberates far and wide. The power to bring about change lies in our collective efforts. So make sure you talk about hashtag Saka Nakodar in anything you say at any platform, and we will tell the word. We are trying at our best, like even though they deny it never happened, but it has been documented. It is a part of congressional records. It's a part of the city records. So that's what we need to do. We need to document these cases. Like Mandeepa ji said, this is a documented case where everything is documented. We have the newspapers from that time, we have the court records, we have the records from the state assembly, we have part one of the report. But think about the six, those were disappeared, whose families have been disappeared, and there is no one to raise the voice for them. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who came in, and I'll let Harjit Paji, take over from here.
Yeah, no, I'll ask Mandeep Paji to give his concluding remarks before I conclude the space.
Ji.
Yeah, Mandeep Paji, go ahead.
Thank you, Paji. I want to highlight what Harinder Paji just said about documentation. It's incumbent upon all of us. We all know somebody, whether it's in our family or whether it's in a friend that was disappeared, right? Especially for the younger generation, you guys need to start documenting your family history. For those that don't know where to start, I'm gonna share this resource. Harjit Paji mentioned INSAF earlier. INSAF is an organization founded in 2005 that by two Harvard lawyers who could have gone on to become corporate lawyers and made a lot of money, but they sacrificed their lives to actually start documenting the disappearances in Punjab in the 80s and early 90s, right? So if you Google, Paji, if you can Google Saka Nakodar, just real quick. Well, insaf.org is fine too, but if you just Google, actually, let me share my screen. I can do it.
This one.
Just Google, just do a Google search, Saka Nakodar, and the first link will be the Insaf page. So anybody who wants to check more into this, Google Saka Nakodar and Insaf page pops up. This is a condensed account of this. If you scroll down real quick, Paji, when the names pop up of Ravinder Singh, so you can actually click on each name of these four shaheeds and learn more about them individually. Insaf has documented cases of these people in Punjab that were disappeared. There's over 5,000 cases. And mind you, this is only the families that are comfortable sharing about this, right? There's still families out there that either have passed on or are not, or are afraid, or, they're threatened by police. There's maps. You can search by your village. You can search by area. You can search by age. I think there's a 3-year-old kid on here whose profile, that kid was disappeared. The oldest one, I believe, is like 80, 90 years old, Bajorg. So there is an immense amount of genocide that took place and continues to this day, right? So this is a very, very amazing resource for us to learn about our history and for us to contact Insaf. You can actually use, when you go to insaf.org, you can actually contact them if you know somebody, if you have history in your parent or your family and you want to document your family history, they will help you with that. They're also doing video testimonials as well. And I do want to add about the Nexus Paji just mentioned. There's people like Swaran Singh Kota who ran death squads, whose son is now also a SSP of the one Ajnala area where Pai Amritpal Singh's Jatha was,
What's his
after.
name, Pani? What's his name? That SSB's name?
I believe it's Satinder Singh, I believe.
Okay. Anyways, no, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead. Yeah,
No, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
If you just Google Satinder Singh Court, it'll pop up. This is a long connected history. So I think it's for us is folks in Punjab don't know a lot of this, right? We meet students. I actually just met one of the other sheets by Chelman Singh's niece, Odipan I say Mantika City Council meeting we just had this past week, where City of Mantika recognized Saka Nakodar Day, and she mentioned, she just recently moved to America, and this is the family of a Sheet. They didn't know about many of these things. Imagine that. Like, they don't get taught this in school. This is not a community conversation happening, because anybody who tries to talk about this stuff gets put in jail or they get killed. So that is our responsibility. I want to thank again Pai Harinder Saab, Tuadi family, the immense amount of trauma you continue to live through, and we can hear it through your voice, but just know that Guru Sahab, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਆ, ਪੰਥ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਆ, ਤੇ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੱਕੀ ਹੋ ਹਨਾ, it will never be forgotten. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ.
Yeah, I just want to add some last words on this. That you all of you guys who are probably watching the live streams, you can see this map. This map is not even and it is showing the number of people who were killed, extrajudicially murdered by the police, with the testimonies of their loved ones and the evidence and their age and everything. I think it is important that we support this work. We at the least we can do is, I know of many of my family members who were disappeared, and so I'm going to go make sure that their data is documented here. You probably will know many of your family members who disappeared, and everybody has at least one or two such cases in their family. And this, we know that this data is woefully incomplete. We have more than 100,000 youth who were picked up, killed, murdered. We have like a story after story. In every family has a story to tell, and some families have multiple stories to tell how their youth were picked up without reason, murdered, killed. What Sardar, we can't be there. We wouldn't have been there to kind of help these youth, but we are the survivors. So we have the responsibility to tell this truth, especially the ones who are in West. We have to put our resources, our mind, our effort to make sure that these stories are brought to light, and the true face of the Indian state is shown to the entire world. That it is not the so-called biggest democracy in the world. It is the biggest authoritarian regime in the whole world that humanity has ever seen. Its crimes against humanity are unparalleled. Listening to the stories of torture and death, no human being can even listen to those stories. But I think the least we can do is we have to tell the truth, so that our existing generation knows the truth, and the future generation, we have to document it. As Pai Mandeep Singh ji said, we have to document, we have to write on Twitter or wherever we can, so that these cases and these stories are documented. So with that, I first want to thank Harinder Paji thodi fight lai. Te before I go, I also want to show his I think he has a Twitter account. It is called @Saka Nakodar. I kind of request everyone who sees this, the way you can support this fight for justice is by at least following him. He shares a lot of data about this incident and other human rights issues. You can kind of propagate it further. Please also support Insaf any which way. Whenever I get chance, I go and donate there. Any other way you can kind of get them stories, or whichever way you can kind of help them, because they are fighting the just cause. So with that, I will thank everybody for their time, and ਆਪਾਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੀ ਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ, ਤੇਰੇ ਭਾਣੇ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦਾ ਭਲਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਤੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।